Hi, my lovers. Mabel Rose Thompson here. I'm 103 years old, and I've been sitting on these words for a long time, waiting for somebody to ask me the right question. Nobody asks old people about happiness anymore. They ask us about diets. They ask us about supplements. They ask us what pills we take, but nobody sits down, looks me in the eye, and says, Mabel, what actually makes a life worth living? Well, I'm going to tell you anyway, whether you asked or not, because I've watched too many people, smart people, hardworking people, good people, waste their entire lives chasing something that was sitting inside them the whole time. I've buried 7 doctors. I've outlived 4 presidents I personally disliked. I've watched 6 decades of diet trends come and go. And the only thing that's changed is that people are sicker and sadder than ever. Before I continue, I'm very upset. Do you know why? My latest videos have a lot of views, and I thank you all so much for that. But there are no subscribers. Have you stopped loving me? Or do you have a problem with subscribing? Please subscribe so we can continue writing our history and the beautiful stories of Mabel. I also want to remind you that this is my only official channel. So please check the channel before watching any video. Thank you. I love you all. Let's continue our story today. So, here are 10 brutal truths about happiness, not from a book, not from a study, from 103 years of living, loving, losing, and learning. Truth number 1, I'll be happy when is a lie they sold you. I had a friend named Betty, worked at the telephone company with me in the 1960s. Every single day, Betty would say, just 10 more years, Mabel. Then I'm retiring to the coast. I'm going to open a little bakery. I'm going to make pies every single day, and that's when I'll start living. 10 years passed, then another 10. Betty kept saying, someday. You know where Betty is now? She's in the ground. Died at 62, 2 years before retirement. Never made it to the coast, never opened the bakery, never made a single pie. She spent 40 years waiting to live. And I'll tell you something that'll sting. Betty wasn't unlucky. Betty was doing what almost everyone does. She was postponing happiness like it was a bill she could keep pushing to next month. Happiness is not a destination. It is not a reward you receive after you finish the hard part. There is no finish line. I know people my age, and I know a few who are still waiting, still chasing, still saying when things settle down, things don't settle down. Life doesn't get quieter. You just run out of it. Stop saying I'll be happy when decide to be enough right now. It sounds too simple to be true. That's exactly why nobody does it. Truth number 2, the feeling you're chasing can't be bought. I taught first grade for 31 years. 31 years of small hands and runny noses and children who thought I hung the moon. And every single year, I brought lesson plans home at night. I stayed late grading papers. I missed dinners with my own children. I missed my daughter's dance recital, her first one, the one she practiced for 3 months because I was at a school board meeting trying to impress a principal who retired 2 years later and never thought about me again. I got my Teacher of the Year award in 1974, stood up on that stage, smiled for the picture, and drove home alone, ate a cold supper, and sat in the kitchen in the dark, wondering why I didn't feel what I thought I'd feel. That's the dirty secret nobody tells you. The trophy doesn't fill the hole. The promotion doesn't fill the hole. The corner office, the bigger house, the standing ovation, none of it fills the hole because the hole isn't out there, it's in here, and you're the only one who can fill it. The feeling you're looking for of being enough, of being worthy, of being okay. You could have given yourself that feeling at any time. It was never somewhere you had to go. It was always somewhere you had to stop. Truth number 3, you don't have as much time as you think. I want you to stop reading this for a moment and look at the clock. That sound, that tick, that's your life running out. Not someday, right now. My sister Margaret and I had a falling out in our 40s. Stupid fight. Something about our mother's furniture. We didn't speak for 3 years. 3 years of silence over a dining room table. Then Margaret died suddenly at 53. Brain aneurysm. Gone between Tuesday and Wednesday. Just like that. I never got to say I was sorry. I never got to tell her I loved her. I never got to take back a single day of those 3 wasted years. You are walking around with the arrogant assumption that there will be more time, that there will be another chance, that you can fix it later, say it later, go there later, start living later. There is no later. There is only now. I have been 103 years old, long enough to tell you that the people who understood this early, really understood it in their bones, were the only ones who didn't end up with regret eating them from the inside out. The clock is ticking. That is not a metaphor. That is your life. Truth number 4, your career is not your legacy. It's a transaction. I love teaching. I want to be clear about that. But my career was not my legacy. My legacy is my daughter calling me every Sunday. My legacy is my granddaughter who has my stubbornness and my laugh. My legacy is the neighbor boy I tutored for free in 1971 who went on to become a teacher himself. That's the legacy. The paycheck was a transaction. You are spending hours you will never get back, building something that will replace you before your obituary is even printed. I'm not saying don't work. I'm saying don't confuse work with meaning. Don't confuse your title with your worth. Don't die for a company that will have your desk cleared out by Friday. Your career will not hold your hand when the lights go out. It will not sit with you when you're scared. It will not remember your name. In 10 years, the people who love you will. Truth number 5. Bitterness is poison, and you are the one drinking it. There was a man named Walter who lived down the street from me for years. Read every health book. Ate clean, exercised every morning at 6 a.m., did everything right by every measure anyone could name, dead at 68. Cancer. You know what killed Walter? 40 years of hate toward his brother over an inheritance dispute. He carried that bitterness around like a backpack full of rocks every single day for 4 decades, wouldn't go to family gatherings, wouldn't say the man's name without his jaw tightening, never let it go. The cancer didn't kill Walter. The hate did. The cancer was just the method. I forgave my mother years ago. She was a hard woman, cold and sharp when she was stressed, which she usually was. I carried anger about how she raised me for decades. I thought forgiving her meant saying what she did was acceptable. It doesn't mean that forgiving her meant I stopped letting her live rentrée in my head. When I finally forgave her, nothing changed about what she'd done, but everything changed about what I was carrying. I got lighter. I got free. Forgive people, not because they deserve it, because you deserve peace, because you don't have time for hate. None of us do. Truth number 6, you can't pour from an empty cup, but you also can't keep the cup locked away. I hear people talk about self-care now like it's something new, like some young person in a podcast invented the idea that you should sleep and eat and rest your mind. Honey, my grandmother knew that. She'd have called it common sense. But here's the other side of it that nobody says. You can spend your whole life protecting your cup and never pour it into anything, never pour it into anybody. And that is a different kind of poverty. The happiest people I've known, the ones who made it past 90 with their minds clear and their hearts full, they were givers. Not martyrs, not doormats, givers. They gave their time, they gave their presence, they gave their attention. My friend Earl, God rest him, he made it to 86. And for the last 15 years of his life, all he wanted was to just be here, to sit with people, to listen. He said to me once, Mabel, I spent 60 years trying to be somebody. Now I'm just trying to be here. That's wisdom, hard-earned, late-coming wisdom, but wisdom all the same. The only things you get to keep are the things you gave away, the love you gave, the time you gave, the connection. Everything else gets sold at a yard sale for quarters. Truth number 7, presence is the greatest gift you can give, and the rarest one. My husband, Robert, love of my life for 68 years. He was a quiet man, didn't say much, wasn't one for grand speeches or expensive gifts or big romantic gestures. But when Robert was with you, he was with you. put the newspaper down, turned away from the window, looked at you like you were the only thing in the room. In 50 years of marriage, I cannot remember a single time when Robert made me feel like he had somewhere more important to be. You know how rare that is? You know how many people live their entire lives and never once feel like they have the full, undivided, unhurried attention of someone who loves them? Providing for someone is not the same as being present with them. Paying the bills is not the same as showing up. You can give someone everything they need and nothing they actually want. Put the phone down, not later. Now look at whoever's in the room with you like they are the only thing in the room. Because one day, and you won't know which day it is until it's already gone, it will be the last time. Truth number 8. Laughter is not optional, it's survival. I buried my Robert 10 years ago. 68 years gone. The day after the funeral, I was sitting in the kitchen crying like a child. My granddaughter came in and she didn't know what to say. She just stood there in the doorway looking at me with those big eyes. So I looked up at her and said, "He always told me I'd be lost without him." Turns out he was right. We both laughed, and then we both cried, and then we laughed again. That's how you survive it. That's how you survive all of it. The grief, the loss, the failure, the fear, not by pretending it doesn't hurt. It hurts, Lord. It hurts. But if you can find even a sliver of something to laugh at, even in the dark, you can make it through. Life is going to break your heart multiple times in ways you're not expecting. That is not a possibility. That is a guarantee. The question is whether you'll let the breaking make you brittle or whether you'll let it make you soft. Laugh even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. It will not fix what's broken, but it will remind you that you're still here, and still here is everything. Truth number 9. Having a reason to get up is worth more than any medicine. I wake up at 5:30 every morning, have since I was a young woman, and I see no reason to change it now. Why so early? Because I have things to do. I have a garden that needs tending. I have a neighbor whose fence needed fixing, and I intend to oversee the project whether he wants me to or not. I have a great-granddaughter who calls me every Tuesday at 9, and I refuse to be asleep when she calls. I have reasons. The miserable old people I've known, and I've known plenty, they stopped having reasons. They got up because the body demanded it. They ate because the clock said to. They existed. They did not live. The happy ones, every single one of them had something pulling them forward. A garden, a grandchild, a neighbor who needed them, a book they hadn't finished, a joke they were waiting to tell something. You need a reason to get up, not a big reason, not a grand purpose stamped on a vision board. A small reason is fine. A small reason is enough. Just make sure it's yours. Truth number 10. You are already enough. You just forgot. I'm going to say something now, and I need you to hear it all the way down. You are enough right now as you are, not when you lose the weight, not when you get the promotion, not when you fix what's broken or improve what's lacking or become whoever you think you're supposed to become right now as you are. I spent too many years of my life not believing that, thinking I had to earn my place, had to prove something, had to be more, do more, achieve more, before I was allowed to feel okay about being me. 103 years old, and I can tell you plainly that was the greatest waste of my time. Not the late nights grading papers, not the fights I shouldn't have picked, not the foods I shouldn't have eaten. The waste was all those years I spent not knowing I was already enough. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not a project that needs to be completed before you're allowed to have peace. You are a human being. That's not nothing. That is extraordinary. You're made of the same stuff as stars. And you've somehow ended up here reading this with a whole life in front of you. Stop running long enough to feel that just once. Stop and feel what's already inside you. It was always there. Every single answer you've been looking for was always already inside you. I'm 103 years old. I don't know how many mornings I have left. Could be 1,000. Could be 10. I stopped pretending. I know. What I do know is this. Your body needs real food. Your heart needs real connection. Your soul needs real purpose. And your mind needs real peace. The kind that comes not from circumstances settling down, but from you deciding to stop needing them to. That's the whole game. Everything else, the diets, the books, the life hacks, the optimization, the chasing, it's all just noise. Eat simple, love boldly, forgive quickly, show up fully, laugh loudly, and for God's sake, stop waiting. There is no perfect time. There is no someday. There is only now. Now go call your mama and tell whoever you love that you love them today, not someday. Mabel Rose Thompson, 103 years old. Still here, still kicking, still telling the truth. Subscribe to my channel and don't you dare forget to like and share.